I have often regretted my speech, never my silence. By Socrates. Have you ever found yourself in a discussion where, even after saying everything you needed to, you walked away feeling like you lost? Have you ever felt that knot in your throat, as if every word spoken had pushed you further away from your own strength? Perhaps you're surrounded by people who speak loudly, interrupt, mock, and dominate environments with arrogance disguised as confidence. And maybe deep down, you believed that staying silent was a sign of weakness, that not defending yourself was surrendering, that not reacting was losing. But what if I told you that all of this is an illusion, that true power has never been in words, but in their absence? To understand this, let's begin with a story that has echoed across centuries. In 399 BC, Socrates, the father of Western philosophy, was sentenced to death by the city of Athens. His crime? Corrupting the youth and impiety. In truth, his only crime was asking questions that exposed hypocrisy, arrogance, and false certainty in those who claim to know everything. During his trial, Socrates had every chance to beg for mercy. He could have cried, pleaded, or flattered the jury. He could have argued endlessly, spinning words to soften the judgment. But instead, he remained calm. He accepted the verdict without desperation. And at key moments, he used silence, not argument, not defense, as his answer. His refusal to beg unsettled his accusers. They expected fear, anger, or tears. Instead, they found serenity. His silence reflected their own weakness back at them. And here is the paradox. Though Athens killed his body, Socrates won a greater victory. His composure, his silence, and his refusal to be broken gave him a moral triumph that outlived the empire itself. To this day, his accusers are forgotten, but his silence is remembered. Silence can outlast death. Centuries later, Nietzsche looked at this same phenomenon and recognized a deeper truth. He saw that people who argue endlessly, who feel compelled to justify themselves, are already trapped. Those who talk too much reveal too much. Those who rush to defend expose their insecurity. Most people do not argue for truth. They argue for validation. They want to silence their own doubts by forcing others to agree. But Nietzsche believed that silence, carefully used, is a higher form of power. Because silence disconcerts. It destabilizes. It forces the other to confront themselves. Think about it. When you respond to every provocation, you are playing someone else's game. But when you don't react, when you hold your ground without defending, it is they who feel naked, vulnerable, and exposed. Silence becomes a mirror, and not everyone can bear to look into it. But here's the problem. Silence feels unnatural. We are conditioned to defend, to argue, to explain ourselves. Why? Because we confuse silence with surrender. We think, if I don't correct them, they win. But this is an illusion created by our fragile ego. The ego cannot stand being questioned. It craves validation. And so it argues, not for truth, but for survival. Every debate becomes a battlefield of insecurity. But Nietzsche called this the morality of the herd. The herd must always defend itself because it cannot stand apart. It needs acceptance. It needs to be seen as right. And so it shouts. But true strength lies in not needing to win the approval of others. You do not lose when you fall silent. You lose when you reveal that you need validation to exist. Nietzsche introduced the idea of the Übermensch, the higher being who transcends the fragile morality of the herd. The Übermensch does not argue endlessly. He does not throw words into the void to convince others. He does not waste his energy defending his honor at every insult. He chooses carefully when to speak and when to remain silent. And when he is silent, his silence is not emptiness. It is presence. It radiates control. It commands attention without asking for it. Imagine a courtroom, a debate, or a heated argument. One man shouts, mocks, gestures wildly. The other sits quietly, calm, eyes steady. Which one has power? Silence is not passivity, it is control. Every word not spoken is energy conserved. Every reaction not given is power retained. That is the silence of the Übermensch. But why does silence disturb others so deeply? Because silence is a mirror. It reflects people back to themselves. When you don't respond, they are left alone with their own words. And that is unbearable. Most people don't speak to express truth. They speak to protect themselves, to cover their insecurities, to escape their doubts. Your silence removes their shield. Suddenly they hear themselves clearly, without your interruption, without your defense. And what they hear terrifies them. Psychologists know this. In confrontational situations, silence is often perceived as judgment. It doesn't matter if you are simply calm. People project their own fears onto your silence. They wonder, are they judging me? Did they see through me? Did I just expose myself? The amygdala, the brain's fear center, activates. Anxiety rises. And in that moment, silence cuts deeper than any word. Silence has a devastating effect on manipulators. They thrive on emotional reaction. They feed on your anger, your defensiveness, your explanations. Every reaction you give them is fuel for their game. But when you refuse to react, when you give them nothing, suddenly the game ends. They are exposed. They reveal themselves. This is why silence is feared by the manipulative and the arrogant. Because silence cannot be controlled. And this is why it takes strength to remain silent. Because silence is uncomfortable, not just for them, but for you. It goes against everything you've been trained to do. But this discomfort is exactly why it is powerful. Because it demands mastery. Let us return to Socrates. He could have filled his final hours with words of defense, pleas for mercy, long speeches about justice. Instead, he accepted silence. He drank the poison hemlock calmly. His friends wept. His accusers gloated, but his silence was louder than any speech. That is why, 2,400 years later, we still remember him. Not for his death, but for his composure. His silence was stronger than their verdict. His calmness exposed their cruelty. This is the ultimate paradox. Silence can echo louder than words, last longer than speeches, and break enemies without striking them. Now, let's bring this to your life. In arguments, you don't need to prove your worth in every fight. Sometimes the most cutting reply is no reply at all. In debates, you don't need to crush them with words. Watch them crush themselves under the weight of their own. In manipulation, refuse to give energy. Their schemes collapse when you don't play. In life, remember that the strongest presence in the room is often the quietest one. Silence does not mean weakness. It means mastery. It means you choose when to spend your energy and when to let others destroy themselves. Finally, silence is not just a social weapon. It is a spiritual discipline. When you remain silent, you learn to listen, not just to others, but to yourself. In silence, you meet your own fears, your own doubts, your own ego. And when you can master that, no external noise can shake you. This is why monks meditate in silence, why sages retreat to solitude, why Nietzsche, despite his fury at the world, often turned to silence as the ultimate expression of power. Because silence is where true mastery is born. This is what Socrates knew in his trial, what Nietzsche saw in philosophy, what psychology confirms today. Silence is not weakness, it is strength. It is the unshakable ground beneath the noise of the world. So the next time you are mocked, interrupted, or provoked, remember this. You don't need to answer every word. You don't need to defend every truth. Silence may be your sharpest blade, your strongest shield, and your greatest victory. Because silence is not the absence of response. Silence is the definitive response. And here at Sathios, we explore exactly this kind of timeless wisdom, making ancient philosophy relevant to modern life. If you want to cultivate the power of silence, the composure of Socrates, and the self-mastery of Nietzsche's Übermensch, this is the place. If you found meaning in this message, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. It helps this channel grow and keeps the flame of deep thinking alive. Join the Sathios community, and together let's walk the path of timeless wisdom.